everyone. Casey Wilson, owner of Roseville Strength and Conditioning and one of your co-hosts of the Do or Do Not podcast. And this is
Brad Erie.
You need to pop your voice a little bit more when you say your name. Like that's my damn name, man. I'm Brad Erie.
Fucking Erie.
That's right. There we go. That's how you do it right there. Little foul language to accentuate it's like when I talk about Kathleen Kennedy, got it off an F-bomb.
That's right. Oh my God. I can't wait for that episode.
All right. So last time we were going to talk about the difference between young Jedi or young Star Wars fans and older Star Wars fans. We will do that today. But first, we're going to talk a little bit of fitness. And so when talking to people over the years, I get a lot of people, some of them are my clients that are moving, to another area, or, you're talking to people that have friends who live other places. And they're like, well, what do I look for in a good trainer? So I thought I would do a little talking about, because not everybody watches this podcast, lives in Roseville, can come to a good trainer. So
I personally look for someone who is bald, gray goatee.
It's a good start right there. You have a little bit of experience in
little seasoning, likes to wear blue and black shirts,
Yeah. That's good. You know what? There must be some correlation there.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're bonded somehow.
So the first thing I always tell people is to look for people that are professionals. So it's easy to go, well, this person's professional. Well, what's professional? Number one, this is their primary job.
Yeah.
So they're not working at a job and then seeing you in the afternoons after they get off work. You make it a profession. You're a professional. Obviously, you're getting paid money to be a professional, but you actually take what you do seriously. And being professional is showing up on time. Always be here. Always be ready to go. Doing the job that you're supposed to do. If I tell you I'm going to help you do something, I'm going to help you do it. Now, if you choose to do everything I tell you to do, are you going to get to your goal?
Not as fast.
But in the
why are you looking at me when you?
Well, you got your original goal.
Yeah,
I
did.
So, whether you backslid or anything,
I kind of backslid right into it, but I got it.
But if somebody comes in and they're trying to, and they go, I need to lose 30 pounds. And then I sit there and talk to them. We work out things like, all right, you're going to lose 20 pounds. And then in 3 months, you're going to do a 5K, or 3 months, you're going to be able to jog a mile, whatever the goal is. We're setting these goals and I'm here to help, and I take them seriously. And I sometimes will remind you of what your goals are. So I'm doing the job that you're paying me to do because I'm a professional. I'm not distracted by other stuff.
Yep.
So when you're here, you're getting my attention. When you're here for small group training, I'm focused on the class. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm doing. I'm actually planning stuff out and thinking about it. I'm not just flying by the seat of my pants. Oh, let's go do this machine. Let's go do that. I'm actually a professional trainer, somebody who thinks about what can I do to help this person get to their goals? What is going to slowly progress them to that point? So part of that, the number two thing to look for is knowledge. So when you talk to someone, very few of my clients ever go, what is the origin and insertion point of the latimus dorsi? Or
because Avi, we all know it, so why ask?
What does the bicep, femoris do? That nobody asked me that crap.
Yeah.
So that's stuff you have to know. But as a trainer, no client comes in and wants to know these specifics. They do. I take them over the anatomy chart and I start going over stuff with them. But very rarely, usually an injury or or they come in and they say, well, I have the pain in this area or that area. Then I go over and go, all right, this is what this does and this is what that does, and we kind of go over things.
Or I will say, it hurts if I move my arm up and down like this, and then you'll say, don't do it. Don't move your arm.
That's the classic thing, right? That's what the doctor tells you.
Yeah.
It hurts when I blow my nose. Well, don't blow your nose.
Yeah.
Just let it dribble out. So knowledge is a huge part of it.
Absolutely.
Also is you got to know your subject matter. So after 22 years of experience, I know the job pretty well. Do I have certifications? Yes. Have I done many certifications over the years? Yes. But the number one thing is experience for me. I've been doing this a long time. I know how to if somebody comes in and they give me their scenario, I can develop a workout program for them just like that. I know what I'm going to do because I've had this set of circumstances before. And if I haven't, I've had close enough circumstances or just my experience level. It's like, all right, we're going to start you here. And if you do well there, maybe we're just going to move you up something more the next time you come in. But we don't want to hurt you when you first come in. But knowledge is very important. They got to know their job. There's a lot of bros out there that'll tell you, well, come work out with me at the gym. Let's get in shape. But they don't really know how the body works. They'll have you doing exercises that are counterproductive.
Yeah.
They'll have you doing exercises that you shouldn't be doing for the goals that you've set. And being a gym bro is great. You're working out hard. I have all the love and admiration in the world, but it doesn't mean they should be teaching people how to do things, because that was the old way of doing it. And hey, guess what? Before I became a trainer and I was doing another job.
Were you a gym bro?
I was a gym bro. I was in the gym.
Shocking.
I read the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. I had all the magazines.
Shocking.
I was a true workout nerd and nut. I read everything about supplements. I was up on all that stuff. But I wasn't educated. There's stuff that I found out when I started going through certifications about how the body moves and works and what should be done that bros in the gym think, and even bodybuilders think, are great exercises. And it's going to build this up. Then you find out, no, it's not. Doing it the right way can get just the same exact results as doing it your gym bro way or your bro science way. Well, I feel the pump more back when I do this. So yeah, you're taking your rotator cuff and twisting it up take a towel and twist it because you're doing behind the neck stuff. There's just stuff that is unneeded.
So you're saying I shouldn't take all of my gym info from TikTok?
No, you should not.
Okay, because I do.
With that being said, there's some very knowledgeable, good people out there. But there's a lot of people that if it's not their job, if they're not a professional, and trust me, they'll tell you how great they are, and they'll tell you, that trainer. Some trainers don't know shit. That's what I'm saying. You got to have knowledge, but in general, you got to know what you're doing. And you got to be a professional, especially if you're going to help somebody else that is not you personally, because then you have to be able to step outside your box. Not everybody can do what you're doing. Most of my clients can't lift what I lift. Most of my clients can't do. Brad won a contest, and one of his things he chose was his prize was to work out with me. And how did that go?
I got humbled. I'll say it.
But I could go work out with somebody who's a total, fitness nut and stuff. And they could, you have strengths and weaknesses. I like to be well-rounded. I can lift some weight. I can do some cardio. I can run. I can lift. I can do those things. But I know
all the 80s music.
That too,
well-rounded. And
I know how my body works, and I listen to my body and stuff, but there's people that can put me under the table fitness-wise because they spend all their time. I work out 5 hours a week, 6 hours a week, unless I'm training for some type of endurance event. Then I may be putting in, 10 or 11 at the most if I'm out doing trail running or something like that. I don't my whole life doesn't revolve around just fitness. I think, when I was younger, it did. I spent 6 days a week, 2 hours a day, sometimes 7 days a week, and all I did was lift.
That was your gym bro stage.
That was my gym bro phase, and then I got a wife and kids, and and divorce, and raising kids single. And I didn't have time to do all of that, so I learned how to refine. Plus, honestly, I didn't need to be doing all that stuff when I got to a certain age. My goals changed. What I was looking for was different. So you need to have somebody who's professional, somebody who's knowledgeable, somebody who holds you accountable.
Yes, that's a big one.
That's a huge part of it, and one of the things I tell people I do is, number one, I'm gonna design your workouts. I'm gonna design your workout programs, your nutrition. We're gonna get you to your goal. I know what I'm doing. But then also, if you're coming in to see me, I'm gonna be asking you what you're doing on the in-betweens. Did you follow your meal plan this week? Did you do this? Did you do that? And then the ultimate accountability, I'll measure you. And if your measurements don't change after a month, 5 weeks, and there's no change at all, or you gain weight, or, I know that something didn't work right. So it could be a possibility of somebody's body's just hit a plateau. They've gotten stagnant, and we need to really shock them out of it. But a lot of times it's because that person isn't doing what they're doing. They're supposed to be doing.
You keep looking at me when you say not doing what you're doing, and I'm starting to feel that
you're the person who represents the client's version of it, and you're my co-host, so I'm going to look at you because I'm talking to you, not just the camera. Because
would you look at me? Would you like me to positive?
Would you like me just to go, this son of a bitch over here? I don't pay attention to him at all. He means nothing to me.
Sometimes.
No.
Well,
no, so that's what I'm saying. Is
yeah.
that's why I'm looking over at you.
Okay.
For
I was
that.
just starting to think every time you say something negative, I would get a quick glance,
No.
for the people who are just listening.
It's just like I'm talking about clients, and
All right.
you're a client and you're posing that point of view. So that's what I'm doing. So the accountability aspect of it
That's a big one.
is one of the most important things.
Yes.
It's not just a big one. It is literally because how many times in people who are watching this, Brad's mom, how many times have you went and done a workout program or you go, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to sign up and I'm going to do all the classes, I'm going to do all this. And then 2 months later, you've been to the gym once, twice, or I went for a month and the last month I haven't went again.
Yeah.
That's what gyms make their money off of, the people not showing up.
Yeah.
I worked for big gyms.
All the dirty secrets.
There's so many people don't show up. If everybody showed up to the gym, we couldn't fit everybody even in there. It'd be like you'd be in a sardine can. Most people don't show up, or they show up for limited times. That's why in January and February, it's really hard to get a parking spot. It's really hard to get a machine. Let me tell you, by April, May, you're fine. There's going to be plenty of people that are going to get that machine. That's because there's no accountability.
Yep.
There's nobody who's in your corner telling you have to do this or you need to do this. Because guess what? You can do whatever you want. But if you know that you have this goal and you're paying somebody, number one.
Yeah.
I mean, trainers aren't cheap.
No.
If you're really cheap, you're probably not a good trainer.
I mean, you got to support your lake house and you got to support your.
I keep my costs down to try to keep it available to as many people as possible. But, it's not cheap. So you're spending money. I'm here to get you to your goal and hold you accountable to getting to that goal.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you too, if you're not doing the right things, I'm going to go, hey, look, you came to every session. You came to 8 sessions this month. So you spent 8 hours with me. All it takes is some bad meals here and there. And we get down to doing that measurement and it's not going to change.
One bad weekend.
I'm going to go, look, your body fat percentage went down a little bit and your weight went down this much, but it wasn't what it should have been.
Yeah.
So, and then have you been good? No. Because it almost always the answer is no. If it isn't no, then we start looking at what other factors are in play here. And sometimes there's other factors.
You've caught me with some bad weekends coming in and be like, whoa, man, I'm just going to say, you look a little bit more puffy than you.
I go, well, this is sticking out a little bit. I don't do that with everyone. Brad's different. I'm friends with him.
Yeah,
we have a
very
back and forth. Yeah. But I'll tell you, it's like some. And I also talk to my female clients. I go, all right, measurements are next week. Are we on our cycle or are we not? Because you can retain a lot of water, being on a menstrual cycle, or just did you go out? Like I'll have somebody weigh in. They're like, I went out and had Chinese food last night. I'm like.
With some margaritas.
And then the sodium will suck. You can gain 5 or 6 pounds just in water weight, So then the measurements are all going to be jacked up. Usually body fat percentage, not a big change if you're doing skin fold calipers, but any bioimpedance test or any of those things are not going to be as accurate and the weight's not going to be accurate. So there's factors that go into it, but you really want to be accountable. The accountability aspect comes into every day, every time you come in.
Yep.
But then also during measurements.
Well, you also will text and say, hey, I saw that you missed last week. Are you coming in? What's going on? What are you doing? Like, we're not done yet. Are you feeling okay? You won't let us
I give you a hard time if you're not showing up, if you're canceling appointments. And
you're a hard man to ghost, so that's good.
And that's my job. That's part of that being a professional is I'm vested in this with the people that are doing it.
Yeah.
So one of the other things is personality. Now, I will not say that I have a huge effervescent personality, but most people enjoy being around me.
Well, I mean, we can't all be perfect in all areas. And seriously, though, this is what kept me. It was, like I've said this a million times, you've always come in looking like this hard ass guy that I would never relate to. And then you've opened up about your love of Star Wars and your comic geekdom. And you sucked me right in of like, oh my God, this is a fellow nerd.
Giving you good advice on upcoming TV shows.
Yes. I mean, he turned me on to all kinds of shows like Outlander, Yellowstone, it goes on, people. You come for the workout, you stay for his recommendations of pop media and TV shows. So I agree.
Or sometimes people come in just because they actually Trust me.
Yeah.
They tell me, trust me.
You are like a
Trainers-
part-time psychologist.
Yes.
You are a part-time bartender in the sense that you hear everybody's troubles.
Yep.
People have come up to you and be like, man, like, my dad died, my mom is sick, or, I don't feel good, or I have something rough in my life, and you take it all. Take it all. And that's just me. Like, that's just me on a Tuesday.
I have a lot of tough combinations. Like, I have people come in and go, I have cancer and I'm going to be on chemo. I'm going to be out, but I want to come back, those type of things. My mom just died. My dad just died. My kid just got diagnosed with this. There's all these different things that happen. And so being human and having a personality, when you show up to your trainer, if you feel like they don't want to engage with you at all, or they don't want to, because you're going to spend lots of hours with a trainer. Hundreds. If you're going to train with them for a long time, you're going to spend hundreds and hundreds of hours over the years with them. Yeah. If you're just going to let's say you're training 3 times a week for 6 months and you hit your goal.
Yeah.
3 months.
I mean, I spend more time with you than I do with my own wife.
36 sessions. 36 hours with someone if you're doing full sessions.
That's a lot.
So you get to know them. So you have to have somebody you don't mind being around. That you actually don't dread meeting or whatever. You don't dread them coming in to see them because they're just a hard ass and they're always on you all the time. Some people really like hard asses, but you also, and I'm not easy, but like I'm actually going to engage and communicate with you, and I'll talk to you about what's going on in your life. And sometimes people like my advice, sometimes like what I have to say. I'm a pretty reasonable, well-rounded human being.
Debatable.
So, and I know a lot of stuff. Reasonable unless you're talking about Kathleen Kennedy, and then I'm not reasonable. If you mess with my Star Wars,
I got a quick question for you.
No, it can't be about anything that is not fitness, though.
All right, no, this is fitness related. I'm just going to swing it to you. Have you ever had a client and you come, other than me, in the beginning, and you're like, oh my God, he came today. I was hoping he would call in sick. Oh my gosh, this person just irritates me, just the excuses, the whininess. Oh my, I just really have to force myself to be professional. Besides me.
Oh, well, no.
And Matt, because Matt doesn't listen anymore. Thanks, Matt. And be like, oh my God, it's Tuesday at whatever time, and I just don't want to just get this hour over with. I mean, have you ever in your career had clients that you just had to force yourself to be professional and personality, or have you been pretty lucky and you've enjoyed all of them?
When you train as many people as I've trained, there's going to be people that may not be your favorites.
Yeah.
But the whole goal is to make sure that they never know that they're not your favorites. Okay. Now, I've ever had anybody who I just go, no, I've never had anybody I've been like, I don't want to train them.
Okay. So there's never said this, sorry, this isn't going to work.
I've kicked a few people out before because they don't, like, here's the big thing. I'm the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah, we got some podcast moments that I could share that.
I'm the nicest guy in the world.
Might refute that.
As far as being reasonable, understanding, fairly intelligent, I'm pretty nice. Yeah. I go out of my way to help people.
You do.
I'm not a total dick about things. I very rarely,
unless your name is Kathleen, and then
that's the only person, because she screwed up my favorite thing. So but she's the only person, and you know what? I bet she's a really nice person in real life. It sounds like behind the scenes everybody really loves her.
Well, she might be a good mom. I don't know.
Sounds like everybody despises her behind the scenes, but besides that,
well, cross her off our guest list.
She's, no doubt, she's not going to be coming on anytime soon.
No,
but I feel like I'm a pretty good guy to be around. Do you come in and do we constantly have conversations about everything else? No. But there's some people you connect with. Brad and I get along really, really well. We talk about things throughout. Not like when you were in here this week, you didn't talk that much.
No, you were working me hard. It was hard to talk with through my gasping.
I was putting you through the paces this week, but in general, I'm not going to sit there and chat you up all day long about meaningless shit. Oh, look at the weather today; it's 100 degrees.
No, when it's go time, you're good. Of like, okay, enough chit chat. Like it's time to work.
It's time.
Yeah.
So
and if I keep trying to talk to you, you make sure that you push me so hard that I can't talk. and that's how you get your quiet time with me.
But in general, personality is very important. You
Yeah.
don't want to have a trainer who, number one, doesn't engage with you. Number two, maybe they act like they're not really interested in training you. Meaning, so there's a lot of gym trainers. A lot of people are going to go to gyms that are watching this, and there's going to be gym trainers, and they're looking at everybody else besides you.
Or they're checking their phone.
They're checking their phone nonstop,
Instagramming, while you're working out.
There's a lot of stuff, and the main thing is you want to feel like that person you're paying money to be your trainer cares. And if that trainer isn't, they're not going to be a trainer long. Yep. In gyms, they're kind of buffeted a little bit because you got a constant flow of people coming through the doors. But eventually they're going to fail out because they're not going to be hitting their financial goals. They're not going to be making the money they want to make. And so they'll find something else to do. To be in this business for over 20 years, you're going to have to be pretty good professional. You're going to have to be a pretty engaging personality.
# he's old.
I am old. And but I'm young at
You are younger than me, so I can't even.
I'm young at heart, and I keep my body fairly young. So, and the other thing is you got to have somebody that'll push you. Yep. So if somebody says, I don't really want to do that today, come on. I'm like, sorry, tough luck. There's just, I'm not rude about it. I'm just like, that's what we're doing, And the only people I've ever kicked out, like we were going back to that question you had, are people that just refuse to do what I told them to do. And I'm like, there's no physical reason you can't do this. This is a mental thing. You think that you have, I got this or I got that. There's been 2 people over the years that I decided, well, then you can leave. Yeah. And they're like, what? And I'm like, you can leave. I mean, if you're not going to do what I'm going to ask you to do, then I'm not your trainer. You're wanting to train yourself, so you can go train yourself, but not in my gym. Yeah. So go train yourself somewhere else. Because I
don't want to take their money and waste their time.
Well,
waste your time for someone who really wants to be trained.
Line, and there's an agreement between us. I'm going to train you, but I'm also not going to hurt you or make you do anything you don't want to do. Yeah. If somebody comes in and they have a legit injury, or they strained a muscle, or they got something going on, I'm not going to say, all right, let's target that area. Then we'll work around it.
Yep.
But if you're just not wanting to do something because you hate doing that exercise,
those
are the ones you should be doing. The ones you don't like to do, those are the ones that you need to be doing, because they're the ones that are going to be the hardest and they're going to benefit you the most. Everybody likes doing the stuff that's fun and easy. Brad sits and does curls all day long.
Curls for the girls.
Making them do something harder, like, mountain climbers or ram burpees or Stairmaster or Turkish get-up. He doesn't want to do those things.
No, I don't.
So you got to make people do the things they don't want to do. And you have to have a trainer who's going to make you do it. And it's not like, I'm not getting the whip out. It's like, do what I ask you to do, or you can leave. But and almost everybody, 99.9% of the time, they do what I ask them to do, because I don't ask them to do anything unreasonable.
That's true. And this also kind of goes with your personality too, of like, if I come in and be like, man, like, my son kept me up all night. I am just really low energy. I'm really struggling. You're like, okay, I'll keep that in account, but we're still going to do stuff, but you won't push me as hard on certain things. So you do find a nice line of pushing you to do stuff, but also being flexible enough to kind of work with what you have on any individual day.
And honestly, a lot of that is people come in and you're tired and you're worn out, and maybe you're not going to perform as good as I want you to perform, but we're trying to get the best performance out of you that day.
Yes.
Because guess what?
This body doesn't come cheap, bro.
Yesterday and
look
today,
at this. Look at my face, the guns.
Yeah.
For those who are only listening to the podcast, you should really look at the YouTube so you can see what Casey has transformed me into, like the ultimate gym bro of muscle. So those who are only listening to the podcast are really missing out on me flexing all the time. Sorry, go ahead. Like, I'm just saying,
Brad's entering the Masters Mr. Olympia next year. Yeah. He's quite yoked, so just watch out for him.
Okay, that was a stretch for those who are only listening. All right.
There you go.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, with everything being said, the things you want to look the most for is professionalism. You want a professional trainer. You want somebody who has a good knowledge base. They know what they're doing. They're certified. Whether it's being certified in this or certified in that, it's very important.
Yep, that's 2.
I'm
keeping track.
That's just really one.
Oh, professionalism. All right. Oh, sorry. What's the next one?
You're throwing me off by throwing the second figure up. I'm like, did I get to accountability already? So professionalism, accountability, So it's very important to have a trainer who's going to hold you accountable, and you're going to give me goals, and I'm going to try to get you to those goals. Maybe those goals change, but then we're going to change the accountability aspect of it too, meaning we're going to try to do things to get you to that point.
I'm still waiting to be Brad Pitt, but let's go.
So you got professionalism, knowledge.
So accountability is 2. So now knowledge is 3, right?
Yeah, and there's
Okay.
no particular order, but when you're
All
looking
right.
for a
We got
trainer,
3.
the first thing you look for is, do they call you back right away? I have a rule
Yeah.
when somebody calls me, like sometimes they call me from out of area numbers. This is the only caveat I will give to this.
Yeah.
I try to call back in 24 hours, usually much sooner than that. But if you
Oh, that's
call
right,
from
you
a
did.
number that's out of the area, I get so many spam calls on my thing
Yeah.
that I'll have like 10 messages from somebody,
Yeah.
all these out of area numbers, and almost all of them are just spams. Hey, we're gonna do this, or sales calls or something. And every once in a while, I'll just won't check all of those. I'll screen them on different days, and I'll miss somebody.
You also email quickly, which scared me because I remember I reached out through email to set up an appointment, and like 2 hours later, and I was like, God,
because I'm a professional, because I'm trying. Okay,
I
so
was hoping I would.
I love
skate
what
by.
I do. I love
Yeah.
my job, but I also am in this to make money too. I got
Yeah.
to pay for my house, my car. I got to pay the rent here.
Yeah.
So
That
if somebody
charger's not free, people.
when you get a lead, you better jump on it. If you have a
Yeah.
trainer who does not call you back or does not contact you, that's lacking professionalism. So right
Yeah.
there, you want to check them off. If they're not going to contact you back, I cannot even tell you how many times somebody said, I've called 5 trainers and you're the first one that contacted me back. Shocker.
Professionalism.
It's called professionalism, accountability,
knowledge,
You got to know what you're doing.
personality.
That's good.
See,
You're listening.
I listen some.
Personality, you got to want to actually be around that trainer. And then the other thing is pushing people to do the things that they don't want to do.
Yep.
So pushing somebody to get the job done even on a bad day. Fitness is easy on the good days,
Yep.
but there's no such thing as fitness if you don't work out on
You
days
got
where
to
you don't
always
want
be
to
a
work
little
out.
uncomfortable. If I'm not sore, or if I can my favorite exercise days that we have done is when I can barely walk back to my car, because I feel the sense of pride of like, you know what, I really pushed myself hard. I really did a lot of energy. I left it all I could here. I feel a sense of like, man, like I really got worked out today. If I can walk to my car hardly sweating, I feel like that was kind of a waste of a workout. Like I didn't push myself hard enough. I probably could have lifted, faster or done something harder with you.
Yeah.
That happens rarely. Most of the time, you usually can get me to feel pretty exhausted. There's been times where you've almost had to go get my car and pull it around a couple times because
The firemen's carry you.
Yeah,
carry
I know.
you out to your car.
because you've destroyed my legs. But yeah, you're good at really kind of like pushing.
And each person
keep
is
going.
different.
Mhm.
Like you, I know you want to be pushed to that almost breaking
Yeah.
limit. And I try to push everybody up to their limits.
Yeah.
Some people have different limits than others.
Yep.
Some people, I can't leave them in that state,
Oh,
or
I
else
love it.
they won't want to come back.
Yeah.
And so I get a feel for that. Meaning, I have people that are never done athletics. They've never
Yeah.
done anything that's really hard. And then you start pushing them in a workout and they go, I had to sit on the bench the other day. And I was wondering if this is what I should be doing.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even get out to my car. I had to sit on the bench. I'm like, I didn't work you out that hard. But in their mind, they just did something that was brutal. And for me, it's something that I made really easy for them.
Yeah.
But for them, it was brutal and their body's taxed, which is what I want to do. I want somebody leaving here knowing they got what their money's worth.
Yeah. Oh, you do. You do.
So, but each person's different. That's part of being a personal trainer.
Yeah. And I just, before we move on to the Star Wars,
everybody's different. Every client is different. Every person who's different.
and every trainer is different. And I want to say this nice thing because I feel like I like giving you affirmations because you've earned it. And, I'll give you a ton of shit when I see you tonight at the group. But I have also gone to multiple CrossFits over my life. I've gone to different trainers. I'll say their name. I'm not scared. I went to Lifetime. When my wife and I checked out Lifetime, and I was looking at their trainers and stuff like that, and they don't compare. Like I've tried it all, and like you said, it's hard to find a good one. I find finding personal trainers is not as easy as you think. It's not like you can just go look. And I was pretty skeptical the first time I came here and I saw your charger with your nameplate. on your license plate. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. This guy's going to be some type of a jerk. I can just feel it. And not only have you transformed my body, you've pushed me more than what I thought was possible. I mean, I came with you with a broken leg, like a broken heart. I was depressed, all that. We've gone through all of that. Now I'm doing a podcast with you, which blows my mind because when I first met you, I'm like, oh, this guy's going to be an asshole. I'm just going to say it. Like, you look like you're going to be this thing.
But here's the thing. This fits right into what we're saying is if you're going to be a professional, Brad's going to come in here and he's got preconceived notions. And especially, guess what? Most of the people.
Your black shirt, your black hat, your joggers that you wear, the charger. I had a bunch of preconceived notions.
So
all out of the water.
People come in with preconceived notions.
Yep.
People come in who have worked with other trainers that weren't professional.
Yep.
Or they went to a gym that wasn't professional. Now,
Lifetime.
I have.
What are they gonna do?
I don't have enough experience with Lifetime. I know some of the trainers there because they used to be trainers at another gym that I used to work at, or they have a reputation around the training community. But I'm really disconnected.
Yeah,
I knew like 3 trainers when they first started, and I knew some other people that worked there. It's a beautiful facility. I tell people Lifetime Fitness is like a cathedral to fitness. They are beautiful. It's like going to a country club, but it's a gym.
But if you're a guy and you want a trainer, and you see that the trainers really kind of gravitate to the young women and kind of leave us old, pale, Irish, tall, slightly balding people kind of off to their own.
That's a lack of professionalism.
And you got to say, excuse me, what am I doing now? What's
That's a lack of being a professional, because guess what? Those young, attractive girls usually have the money to pay.
Yeah. Well,
but here's the other thing. So when you talk about being professional, it's the bottom line is when you come in that door, you have preconceived notions, you have all this stuff. So don't sidetrack me, because I've been trying to get to this point.
Okay.
You keep interrupting me every time I'm trying to get to it.
Kathleen Kennedy, go.
You have these preconceived notions. If you're a professional, you put somebody at ease when they come in. Meaning, I welcome people into my facility. This is my second home, but I want it to feel like
it's your dojo.
It is, but I want them to feel like they're welcome, and this is a place for them too.
Yep.
So that's part of being a professional, is connecting with that individual person, because everybody's different. Personalities are different. You're different compared to Cindy.
Yes.
Personality.
Shout out Cindy.
Like for instance, just different personality types. So you have to connect with different people in different ways. Yeah. I train young people. I train old people. I train a lot of middle-aged people. I train everybody. And if you can't connect with those people and you can't like assuage their negative feelings or their worries when they're walking in the door, then you're probably not very professional.
No, you did a good job, because I was ready to head out. I was like, okay, it's going to be another Lifetime gym bro. Yep. And you were pretty warm right off the bat.
Yep.
You suckered me. I'm like, oh, this guy's nice. And then he made me do a plank. And I'm like, oh, what did I get myself into?
I think the number one thing, and it's advice for all trainers that are young or who are suffering in their business, not that I'm like super successful, like having big monster gym.
If you pan out the camera, you will see his gold covered dumbbells behind right over there.
But if you want to be a professional, you focus on your people, because they're eventually going to pay you the money.
Yeah.
Like you're going to make your money. If you focus too much on the money, then you start losing people.
Yeah.
So you focus on your job and what you're passionate about. I do this because I love it. I've done this for this long, so I could have made more money doing other things. But it worked into my lifestyle because I was raising 2 kids on my own.
Yep.
And so being a trainer was something I could do to make money, buy my house, pay for my car, doing those things. Yeah, who knows?
This podcast doesn't work out, we might start at OnlyFans.
Yeah. We'll be the shirtless podcast.
That's right.
So everybody will tune in to see you, and then I'll sit over there and let you talk,
foot fetish.
You'll be like throwing up,
throwing the guns
poses and stuff. So with that being said, that's the first thing you should look for is, does this person call you back? If they call you back right away and they seem really eager to get you in the gym, great. Make sure they're a professional just from the start. But those are the things you want to look for, those key things.
All right.
And if you don't remember them, go back and listen, because we repeated them multiple times.
Can we talk about Star Wars now, finally? I mean, come on.
I guess.
This is the do or do not.
We didn't talk about it last time because
I
we
know,
talked
and
about
now
the
I
other
get you
star thing.
all fired up about fitness, and you go off.
Yeah, I know. I like talking about fitness. I can talk about fitness all day long.
Oh, we know, audience, we know.